Hey guys, it's the Achiever Dad, and this is my review after 100 hours and 100% achievements in Timberborn. So what exactly is Timberborn? The best way I found to describe it is that it's a city building simulation with factory-style production systems. It sits somewhere between a game like City Skylines and something like Factorio. You're building and expanding a settlement, managing resources, and creating production chains as your colony grows. But instead of managing traffic or industry, the main system you're controlling is water. Your Beaver civilization has to survive cycles of drought, where rivers dry up and crops die. So the entire game becomes an engineering puzzle where you're moving water throughout the map to keep your crops alive, your beavers happy. It's a pretty easy idea on paper, but it ends up creating a very fun and engaging system, and it's one that I've grown to love deeply. One of the things that Timberborn really gets right is what it feels like to actually play the game. Most city builders are about managing numbers or optimizing systems, but Timberborn feels much more like solving environmental puzzles. Every map starts small. You place your first few buildings, get a water pump running, plant some crops, but slowly begin expanding your little beaver settlement. But pretty quickly, the game starts asking bigger questions. How are you going to survive the next drought? Where are you going to store enough water to keep your farms alive? How can you redesign the river so your colony can actually grow? And that's where Timberborn becomes incredibly satisfying. You're constantly reshaping the landscape, building dams, digging canals, stacking buildings vertically, and slowly transforming the map into massive engineered systems that keep your colony running. And when everything works together, the drought hits, and your plants are alive, and your beavers don't even feel the drought, it feels very rewarding. Also, when you finally learn to divert the bad water, and there's nothing to worry about when you get that big red warning across your screen that bad water is coming, and you have systems in place to divert that water somewhere else, it's an incredibly fun system to engage in, and it's something I've never experienced in a video game. And honestly, that feeling is what kept pulling me back into the game over and over again. One of Timberborn's biggest strengths is its creative building system, especially when you start to learn how to build vertically. When it finally clicked that I could build massive beaver skyscrapers, huge pump houses with roofs I could build on, it unlocked kind of the next level of creativity for me, and I loved engaging and playing with that system. You start experimenting with things like overhangs, rooftop farms, stacked storage, and compact industrial districts. It opens up a lot of creative possibilities that most city builders just don't have. And honestly, watching your settlement slowly turn into this towering, interconnected beaver city is incredibly satisfying. But this is also where I think Timberborn still has some room to grow. While the large-scale building is fantastic, the game doesn't give you a ton of tools to really detail your towns. There are decorations and some cosmetic elements, but compared to other city builders, you can't quite fine-tune the small visual details of your settlement. So the creativity in Timberborn comes from more engineering and layout rather than decoration or visual customization. But even with that limitation, the vertical building system alone makes the game feel completely different than most city builders out there. Another system Timberborn introduces is the happiness and well-being meter for your beavers. In theory, I really like this idea. Your beavers don't just need food or water to survive, they need well-being, and it makes you engage in the system and decorate your town because it's actually connected to a system in the game, and that's a good idea, and I really like that. But as your city gets larger, I think the system starts to lose a little bit of its charm. Instead of thoughtfully decorating your town, it slowly turns into something closer to filling a progress bar. You start placing the same well-being buildings over and over again just to try to max out the bonuses. At one point during my Beaverton playthrough, I think I had something like 50 contemplation spots placed around the map, and my beavers still weren't fully satisfied. So while I like the idea behind the happiness system, by late game it feels less like you're building a lively city and more like you're just stacking bonuses to push that happiness meter higher. Timberborn is also a very replayable game. The game gives you two factions to choose from, the Iron Teeth and the Folktale. There's also 3 levels of difficulty. Even though I never ended up playing on the hardest difficulty, the moment I finished a map, I was immediately excited to jump into another one and try a different challenge. Different terrain, a different faction, and different water systems completely change how you approach building your settlement. But the real long-term challenge in Timberborn comes from the achievements. There are 59 Steam achievements, and while they start out pretty simple, they quickly become very demanding. Getting all of them is absolutely not for the faint of heart. For most players, I think it's going to take at least 100 hours to complete everything, and honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing. None of the achievements felt unfair. In fact, they really push you to engage in the systems, try new things, try different factions, try different maps. It really forced me to play the game and think outside of the box, and those are the kind of achievements that I really enjoy and respect. If I was going to rate Timberborn on a scale from F to S, I think I would put it in the high A tier. It's fun, charming, and there are literally hundreds of hours of gameplay here if you really want to dive into it. Between the creative building, the water engineering systems, the faction variety, and the challenge of the achievements, there is always another project to tackle or another map to try. And on top of all that, the developers genuinely seem to care about their project and the community. If you enjoy city management or simulation games, I would absolutely recommend giving Timberborn a try. And honestly, I'm pretty sure I'll still be coming back to it for many more hours, even off stream. I hope you guys have enjoyed this review of Timberborn. It is a game that I have truly fallen in love with. Make sure to subscribe and leave a like on this video. Look for more Timberborn content, including my documentary style playthrough that I'm calling Beaver that documents my entire folktale playthrough from beginning to 100% achievements, which will be launching in just a few days, so look out for episode 1. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.